There's a reason they don't clap for you. It's not that they don't see you, it's that they do. They recognize the light you carry, the assignment you walk in. But fear grips them. Envy paralyzes them. So they sit in silence, watching what they know God has sent, but refusing to speak it out loud. Not because you're not chosen, but because you are. There's something that happens when a true chosen one walks into the room. No announcements, no self-promotion, no flashing signs. And yet, the air shifts, eyes turn, hearts feel the change, even if minds can't explain it. They know something is different about you, not because of your title, but because of your presence. It's not arrogance, it's assignment, not performance, it's purpose. And though they won't say it out loud, they know you were sent. Sent to break patterns, sent to carry light in dark places, sent to do what they didn't have the courage to finish. But here's the tension. Recognition doesn't always come with celebration. Some of the people who saw your beginnings now see your becoming, and it shakes them. They remember who you were, and now they're unsettled by who you are. Because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your awakening reveals their sleep. Your clarity confronts their confusion. So instead of applauding, they retreat into silence. But that silence isn't empty. It's loud with emotions they won't name. Fear that they've missed their own calling. Envy that your obedience brought favor they secretly craved. Guilt that they once laughed at your dreams, but now those dreams are standing tall in front of them. They may never say it, but they feel it. They feel the weight of your calling. They sense the difference in your walk. They notice that what they once dismissed as too deep was really divinely timed. And while some remain respectfully distant, others move into strategic silence. Not because they don't have words, but because their words would reveal too much. If they spoke, they'd have to admit, you were sent, and they missed it. And now, it haunts them. That's why you don't hear the applause you thought you'd receive. That's why the support feels delayed. Not because you failed, but because you're flying too close to the light, and it's burning their illusions. Your presence reveals what they tried to bury. Your journey exposes what they tried to escape. And your rising threatens the systems they built around comfort. But don't be discouraged by the silence. That silence is confirmation. They see you. They just can't face the truth that you represent. There's something holy about the discomfort you stir in others. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's spiritual. Your presence triggers something beyond the physical. It taps into the spirit realm. They may not know how to explain it, but their soul knows. You carry something they lost. You reflect a level of purity they forfeited. You walk with a boldness they once prayed for, but abandoned when the cost got too high. And so, they retreat. They retreat into sarcasm. They retreat into shade. They retreat into silence dressed as unbothered. But underneath it all, they're watching you, studying you, even mimicking you in private. The truth is, they fear what your life reveals. That it's still possible to be pure. That it's still possible to walk closely with God. That you don't have to bow to culture to be powerful. That obedience really does open supernatural doors. They fear your clarity, because confusion was their comfort zone. They fear your authority, because they surrendered theirs years ago. And more than anything, they fear being exposed, because your light makes their darkness undeniable. You're not just a person to them. You're a mirror. Every time they see you, they see the version of themselves they chose to bury. And so, instead of honoring the oil you carry, they pretend not to see it. But deep down they know. They remember the times you wept in silence. They saw the fire that tried to break you. They witnessed the rejection you survived. And now that God is raising you, they feel left behind. But don't confuse their silence with indifference. No, chosen one. They are obsessed. They scroll through your progress. They hear about your impact. They notice the doors opening, even the ones they tried to shut. They just can't say it. Because if they admit who you are now, they'll have to admit what they did then. The ways they dismissed you, the times they sabotaged you, the seasons they ignored your cries for help. So they stay quiet, not out of peace, but out of fear that if they speak, their words will testify against them. And still, you rise. Chosen one, hear this clearly. Their silence isn't your rejection. It's your validation. You were never meant to be affirmed by those too bound to see beyond flesh. Your spirit irritates their demons. Your clarity dismantles their confusion. Your anointing reveals their compromise. And that's why you've been hidden in plain sight. God knew they couldn't handle the full weight of who you are becoming. So He let them misjudge you. He let them think you were weak, so your strength would catch them by surprise. Now, every time they see your face, they're reminded, you were sent. You didn't choose this. You were chosen. You didn't promote yourself. Heaven did. You didn't climb a ladder. You were elevated by obedience. You didn't beg for favor. You became favor's resting place. And though their mouths are silent, their hearts are loud. They feel it every time you speak, every time you post, every time you show up unbothered, unapologetic, and anointed. That silence, it's not random. It's spiritual warfare. It's the tension between your rising and their resistance. But let it be known, no silence, no shade, no scheme can stop what God has activated. You are the sign they prayed for, but rejected when it didn't look like their expectations. You are the deliverer they mocked, but now can't explain. You are the evidence that heaven doesn't need a crowd to make an impact. So walk boldly. Speak when God says speak. Remain still when He says be still. And don't you ever beg for validation again. They may never say it out loud, but they know. They know the oil is real. They know the mantle is heavy. They know your calling was never normal. They just didn't think it would work. They hoped you would break. They bet against you in silence. But now, that silence has become your loudest confirmation. Because chosen one, you weren't just sent, you were planted. And now, the harvest has begun. They can stay silent, but heaven is still speaking through you.